Girl, how's everybody doing, y'all? How's everybody doing? Oh, good morning. Good morning. Hi, friends. Guys, let me tell you, I took myself out to breakfast this morning. Girl, while I was at the Waffle House, I couldn't even eat it. I dropped Farrah off at school. It was 8 o'clock on the dot. I was on my way back to the house, and I was like, I've been thinking about a Waffle House waffle. I don't know. It kept crossing my conversation the past 3 weeks, and Farrah's like, I don't want like Farrah didn't want it at all. She's like, she doesn't like Waffle House, she doesn't like the vibe. Farrah likes a nice quiet breakfast place. Like Snooze, or she doesn't really like First Watch, but she likes like a little quiet situation. She don't like rowdy Waffle House, right? And girl. So anyway, I took myself today. The eggs were good. If you were watching yesterday on Real Talk Bougie, or sometime in the last couple days, Nesto was talking about people don't go to Waffle House for the waffles, which I used to go to Waffle House for the waffles. I don't know if they changed the mix, but I saw her scooping it out and it was so damn thick. And my waffle was so thick. It was not crispy. I did not like it. I'm good for probably another, I don't know, another 5, 10 years till I go back again. I was not pleased with my experience. I mean, they were nice. The people were super nice. The eggs were good. The grits were decent. I was going to bring home the bake. I just left everything there. It was fine. I ate enough. I ate enough to be satisfied. But I didn't take any home. I should have brought my bacon home for Boo Boo and Bebe, but I did not. I didn't. Anyway, are they still outside? I let them outside about 20 minutes ago. I guess they just must be chillaxing outside. It's one of those days. I guess they're just enjoying. Now that I'm talking about them, they're going to want to come in. Anyway, but yeah, I'm here, guys. I'm here. Y'all, I did see the live yesterday. Okay. Can I get a thumbs up on that? I saw Strong Mommy Chrissy's live before she deleted it. I think it's deleted because I went to go look at it this morning and it was gone. It was gone. Okay. It was not available. I saw her. I remember everything, and we getting ready to talk about it. We already knew this was coming, so I mean, we already knew. At the end, this is okay. Let's see. Let me just double check. She was washing dishes, and baby having a full on bitch session. Okay, and what I mean by that is she was bitching and complaining about the internet. You came to the internet to complain about people complaining about you. And ma'am, I'm getting ready to tell you about it. She basically, okay, so this is the deal. Strong Mommy Chrissy put up a GoFundMe for her mom, right? Okay, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, people use GoFundMe. You know what I mean? They use GoFundMe, and I don't really I what can I say? You know what I'm saying? If you need the money, I guess that's what you got to do. You got to do what you got to do. This is my thing. And this okay, if you need to get money from people, if you need to solicit the public for their coin, their hard-earned coin, you're going to have to listen to the public and their opinions. There's plenty of people. There's somebody today having a memorial service in their living room and ordering flowers and having the remains delivered to the house after a cremation. And it's going to be debt free. It's going to be cute. It's going to be lovely. It's going to be loving. The family is going to be there loving on each other. And people are not going to be going in debt and spending money that they don't have or could be used to other things. Period. Full stop. I mean, I think a lot of people have hopes, desires, and wishes to have luxurious, King of Zamunda funerals. And if you don't have King of Zamunda funeral money, you got to do what you have. And I think most people feel like, especially if you have family, where's everybody else's coins? Chrissy has 2 brothers in their 50s. Where don't these men work? Mom didn't have any insurance policy or anything. So they're collecting in a GoFundMe, and she was upset because people had something to say. She said that people are asking her, like, isn't your husband a physician? And Strong Mommy Chrissy said that's not his family. I found it very peculiar. I did. I found it very peculiar that this lady allegedly is married to a man who is not helping or doesn't have the funds to just say, I'll do for you. You know, you're my wife. This is your mother. I love you. So I love her. Or where's your brothers and their coin? Their wives, the family pulling, I don't know. So she came to the internet to ask for help and she's mad. So she was going off yesterday because she said that, first of all, mind your fucking business. Hold on a second. Been dealing with this for 5 years. You would think they would consider it like insurance due to her. Well, let's just say her mom has been in kidney failure for 5 years, right? She's not getting an insurance policy. They maybe could have got a burial policy potentially, something to just not like life insurance, because if she's been in dialysis, baby, you're not getting insurance. You may get a $10,000 policy and you probably could have invested that in Bitcoin and had a better return. There's no way that any insurance company is going to they'll barely give it to you with diabetes, okay? And I'm talking about well controlled, weight managed, all of those things. Ain't nobody getting any type of insurance policy and you were on dialysis for 7 years and on the kidney waiting list. No, ma'am. So I'm just trying to figure out why she didn't have a policy. You know what I mean? A single mom with 3 kids hasn't had an insurance policy maybe since she was 40. Forget about in her 60s. I'm talking about as she was coming up. You know what I mean? Like, aren't some of you in your 30s and 40s and 50s and have insurance policies now? So, look, we can't talk about that. I don't know Miss Cassandra. I don't know her, didn't know her or anything like that, but I understood she worked for like an airline. Wasn't she an airline worker or something? She may have been an airline hostess. I'm not sure, stewardess, whatever her mom did for a profession. Ma'am put her time in. She's 69 years old when she passed. And unfortunately, she was in failing health. The notion that somebody in their 60s in kidney failure is going to get a life insurance policy. No, you can go to a funeral home and buy a nice burial policy so that when it pays, you have money to do the funeral. If you want like some sort of, funerals by Fedra type funeral, that you will be able to have what you want, get the casket you want, the pay for the burial plot. I have a really good friend and she's married before I ever got married. She's been married for a long time. Anyway, she used to talk to me about like they had paid already for their funerals. And I thought that was strange, but now that was in our 20s. Now, in the age we're at now, in our 50s, I've known her for 30 years. Um, I'm assuming it's all paid for. It's probably been paid for a long time. Um, Picked out their plots and everything, right? Um, that's what you do. You just go to the funeral location of your choice. You find the spot under a shady tree or near the flowers by the fountain, and you buy your spot. And that's it. And it's ready for you when you're ready for it, right? Or you get one of those mausoleums, or you get cremated and get a beautiful urn and sit up on top of the fireplace or in the bookshelf. Okay. She said she wants to fly her kids out to Alabama so they can attend the funeral services there. Sounds like someone doesn't have a credit card, either to rent a Sprinter and drive or flex that credit card and buy 5011 plane tickets. You know what I mean? This is the kind of stuff that happens when you're out here flexing with, with what you have versus the reality of when it really means something. Whether you have designer purses or bootlegs, at the end of the day, when it comes down to it and you can't make the moves you want to, it's giving broke. Okay? That's it. That's it. That's all. And I mean, that's okay because everybody doesn't have, right? Everyone doesn't have an abundance and everybody won't have an abundance. But at the end of the day, that flex is when you have options and can do what you want to do and not have to put your hand out and then be mad about it. Me personally, I don't begrudge anybody asking for help, but the internet is kind of a little bit of a different beast and you got to stand on what you rep for. And if you rep that I'm sitting here and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and my husband's a doctor and blah, 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 I'm sorry. I was raised in a household where my father was a physician, okay, with a license, with a whole career, and made good money and took care of all of us kids and made the provisions. They took care of themselves till the day they died financially. I'm trying to figure out how you say you are married to a doctor, a physician, and not every doctor is rich. Everybody is not Dr. Miami. Everybody is not a plastic surgeon. You have family doctors that can be making just as much money as somebody who, you know, 150, 180, 200. Every doctor is not making $1 million salary. There's doctors that go to work every single day. They work 8 to 5. They don't work weekends. And, typically your family doctors, they're making what's considered to be a regular salary. They're not making 250,000. I mean, it depends on the market, but everybody is not making $1 million. Everyone's not making $10 million. Everybody is not rich. But considering even just a basic salary, let's just say 180 to $200,000 a year, which I would expect at least, that man can't buy plane tickets for the load that he decided to carry. When the man married you, I mean, that would be an OG move. That would be something noteworthy, that in your time of need, here's the card. Buy your tickets. Let's go. You know what I mean? That just doesn't make any sense. I believe her brothers have it for the funeral arrangement. She needs help to. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion. That's ridiculous. Chrissy's gonna be Chrissy. Has she even told the kids yet? I don't know. I missed that part. If she told the kids, wonderful. But it might just be, you're gonna have 9 kids out of school. Maybe you just take the oldest 3. This is the real world. Have you guys, as kids, ever not gone to a funeral? I remember my parents going to funerals and taking me right to school. and come home, and they're in their funeral attire picking me up from school, and they went, and maybe we went visiting on the weekend, but I certainly, especially in in the 80s, when maybe I was like in middle school and finishing up elementary school, middle school into high school, kids didn't go to everything. 2000, I don't even, um yeah, I don't know what their arrangements are. It's unfortunate, but this is the time, if this is the time that when you put it out there to get donations from the public, to me, this would be the time that I would be sitting there thinking, I'm never going to let myself be in this position again. If you want to support my people paying for plane tickets. So really and truly, this GoFundMe really should be Chrissy's picture and the kids with a GoFundMe of my mom and the kid's grandmother just passed away. Let me not give out too many ideas, okay? This GoFundMe is not correct then, because it says on April 19th, our beloved mother, Cassie, passed away after a long and courageous battle with kidney disease. She was 69, a strong, loving woman who touched so many lives with her kindness, wisdom, and faith. Sadly, she did not have insurance, and our family is now facing a heavy responsibility of giving her the homegoing service she deserves. We are planning 2 services, one locally for the family. See, this is okay, that's expensive. Okay. One here locally for the family and friends to say goodbye, and one in Alabama where she wished to be laid to rest beside her loved ones. We want to honor her final wishes in full, but the cost of the funeral services, burial, and travel is overwhelming. We are humbly asking for your help with funeral and burial expenses. So, contrary to what someone said, is that the brothers have it. Well, that's not what she's representing on the GoFundMe. Support for my family as we navigate these difficult arrangements. If you are able to give, any donation, no matter what size, will make a difference. If you cannot donate, sharing this fundraiser with others will mean the world to us. We are deeply grateful for every prayer, every kind word, every act of love during this time. Thank you for helping us celebrate the life and honor the beautiful spirit. Chrissy and family. Okay, very nice. But if it's I need airfare, then how about it's we need airfare. I'm a mother with a husband who's a physician, and I need to take my 9 kids across the country, and my husband won't help me pay for my tickets. I'm an indigent wife of a doctor. That's it. Where does that come from? I've been to lots of funerals. I've been to lots of funerals, and I feel people do what they can afford. And hold on a second. I feel like people do what they can afford, and I feel like funerals are for the living. And that's it. That's my opinion on that. Funerals are for the living. The dearly departed is not going to have any knowledge about what's going on, what's not going on. Um, and just like people say you shouldn't go into debt for weddings and funerals and things like that. I just think it's I mean, she's got $947, and it's not really telling the story. The picture she used of her mom was a very attractive lady. I don't know how old she was when she took this picture. But her mom is an attractive woman. Hold on a second, let me pull up the GoFundMe. She's a very attractive lady, and it's awful. I just think the scrutiny from the internet, including, I'm giving my opinion as well. At the end of the day, Ma'am is very attractive. She's a pretty woman. It's very sad, and I do feel for the family because losing mom is a terrible thing. It's something that what I mean, it's life changing because there's kind of before mom passed and there's going to be the after mom passed time, right? Um, I just think that she getting so mad at people asking her questions is absolutely nuts. You make your money off the internet. Who do you come to immediately when you need help? You and your brothers, I don't know if they've been to the bank to get a loan or try to use whatever means they have, but here's Chrissy immediately saying on this GoFundMe that this is for funeral arrangements. And if she's saying we have it for the funeral arrangements, then the GoFundMe is not valid. I'm sorry, that makes no sense to me. If she didn't have life insurance, then they don't need to do both if they can't afford it. Even not even life insurance, just a burial policy. How about just prepaying for your funeral? I mean, what a lot of you guys may or may not know is that today you could go to a cemetery or go to a funeral home and you can make your arrangements and you could pay for it over the next 10 years if you want to. You could pick out your casket. You can find you and your boo thang spot. You can buy a whole situation for all your kids. You could buy 10 spots, you, boo, the kids, and a spot for their spouses potentially, and have an area where you got 10 spots and it's all paid for by mom and dad. Okay? That's the reality of today. That's something that's been available for a long time. Bought and paid for. Okay? And then you've got someone who should be making at least somewhere in the 200s, and that's his salary alone, according to my guesstimation. If he's a specialist, he makes more than that. You shouldn't be making less than 150, and that's a stretch right there, but I would say 180 to 210 minimum, depending on the situation. Is it office? Is it hospital? Is it a specialty? What's really going on? But why is it that you're trolling the internet for money for plane tickets when boo should be able to carry you? Drop some videos and pay your husband back if it's like that. If you're not trying to have him pay because that's not his family, which I beg to differ, you marry somebody that might not be your blood, but damn it, that's your husband. Are you kidding? Do you imagine you're in a time of need and your husband looks at you and says, I can give you $100. I can give you $1,000. I can, here's 4,000, do your best. And you got 9 kids to dress, do hair, put suitcases together, get to the airport, travel. You need at least 3 hotel rooms, maybe 2 full hotel rooms, transportation. Who's picking up 10 people from the hotel? They need a whole limo for Chrissy. All the limos and everything. Oh, Chrissy's coming and all the kids. Baby, come on now. They could have been putting money to the side and been planning this a long time ago. Make sure you secured her spot. If it really meant that much for mom to be in Alabama, why not call and run her some places? I mean, a lot of people don't like to talk about death and dying and final arrangements, but it's the reality. So either you get what you want or you leave your kids to scramble. And if you know your kids' finances aren't hitting on nothing, then what? I'm sure she knew, girl, mom knows us better than anybody, right? I mean, it's that, it's good that the brothers are taking control and trying to get her where she needs to be and where she wants to be. Um, I just can't believe she went live. Did anybody see that yesterday? She was live in the kitchen doing dishes. And when Chrissy comes live and she's bothered and mad, girl, she was mad and she was very much giving bothered. I'm sorry, no doctor is getting with a woman with 9 kids by 7. Okay. Yes, we're just running with the story. Like at the end of the day, we can't debunk everything at every moment. We're just going with the story that she gave us, and then we're using that information to support the argument of this is some bullshit, right? We know that it's not adding up. We get it. The footnote is there. I think most of you guys, even if you're in the bushes, you've been around here long enough to know what we're talking about and to know, baby, this is some silly, you know what I mean? I'm still, I mean, I guess I believe that mom did pass, but it's according to Chrissy at this moment. You know what I mean? Because I hadn't seen an obituary. I don't know anything for real that has been posted by a funeral home or anything. So we're just going based on what she's saying. Um, it's giving, she's a sassy little thing. Okay. Girl, wasn't it like, it was like old time Chrissy. It was like, ooh, she mad. Ooh, she mad. I'm telling you, it's a lot of stress. I think the main takeaway for most people in this type of situation and right now on the YouTube streets, be ready for what your future entails. You know what I mean? If you have parents that are elderly right now and you don't know what, because mom and dad could already have their stuff paid for, but it's time, sometimes it's just time to ask, what's your plans, mom? In the event far from now, what do you want us to do? Oh, well, I already told Joseph or whoever your big brother is or your big sister. Okay, well, tell me too so I know, because they don't stick to the plan. Okay, and then I have everything right here. I already paid for everything. Most of you guys who have a parent or a grandparent who has handled their final arrangements, baby, they're gonna tell you almost every single time you see them, girl. Mr. So and so down at the funeral home, we already got everything paid for, taken care of. This is my spot, blah blah blah. This is the deed to it, because yes, it's like buying it's buying your final resting spot, right? Um, I just think that this conversation came up, and that's good because a lot of this is an opportunity for people to talk about something that they don't talk about at all. People feel like it's taboo, or you're um you're going to put some kind of bad mojo out there, and it's not. It's making sure that your wishes are respected and your hopes for your final resting are secured, right? Um, yeah, well, when you got kids who have suspect financials, um, they gonna have you over down there at Pookie's funeral home and on the news. You know what I mean? You saw that man about a week or so ago at the funeral home, and they were backed up and they had bodies all over the place. Things weren't being handled properly, and it was a mess. You don't want to be over there. You don't want to be at that place, right? You want to be at the nice, professional, ethically, morally, legally run that provides excellent services and handles you with the care and the respect that you deserve. We can do it for the low is not the place you wanna be. Good. That's good. Okay, Tanika, my grandma has everything paid for because she loves you guys, and guess what? She loves herself. Grandma has everything paid for and told me she pays her rent up 2 months at a time, so we don't have to rush to clear out her condo because all of her treasures and collections and things that the things, not the people, but the things that she loves in her home, you guys can take your time to go through and decide who's getting what and not feel like you got to go run through and all of the things that she's taken a lifetime to amass and collect, or just things in her travels from her lifetime have to be thrown away in the trash because you have no clue what to do with it and no time. Mm-mm-mm. Analytical, when you said someone who's got their policy taken care of, the brothers had a burial policy for mom. If they did, that's good. Mm. Look, I understand strong mommy Chrissy's going through a lot right now, and I understand where she's at um in terms of dealing with the shock of what happened. But girl, as long as you have that GoFundMe up, you're gonna still hear about it. People are gonna talk about it. You can't control the internet. So let me pivot off that for a second. You guys yesterday said that the picture that Keisha held up on her phone was Miss Sandra. Keisha said that her mother had alopecia, and you guys are out here saying that the picture that Keisha held up is fake. That's not her. That's actually her mother. And I was like, really? No, I was just talking about my mom and dad. They didn't play about their burial policy. Absolutely. I'm blessed and thankful to still have both of my parents. Yeah, it's a conversation that may or may not come up, but it's a good thing that if you have the energy and just want to know in the future, you know, let's talk about, I want to know, have you thought about what would you like for us to do? It's just a way to not be caught off guard, and also to find out, has mom made any preparations, or is that something that she's going to leave up to you guys to handle? I don't understand what's going on with cremation. It's just the body and she ain't have insurance. Oh wow. Um, I'm not against cremation myself. I think it's fine. Um, I think that it's a personal decision, so I'm not going to put my thoughts out there as far as what that family should do. I'm gonna be honest, and I'm gonna say it, I guess, in a different way than you said it, Virgo doll. I don't have. I'm gonna say it like this. I don't care. Like, it's not my. You know what I mean? There's many viable options. There's uh there's budget friendly, and there is King of Zamunda. Okay, if you don't have King of Zamunda and you need budget friendly, baby, don't come to the hardworking people of the YouTubes and ask people to fund your shenanigans and think you're not going to be discussed. That's all I'm going to say. You know what I mean? You want King of Zamunda, you want 2 services and this, that, and the third. That's expensive. And you got to travel 11 people. I would assume Strong Mommy Chrissy's alleged Casper husband is coming. Girl, did you see the live, Ella? That's a lot. So, a family service in Colorado, you're going to have to ship the remains, even if she got cremated to Virgo Doll's point. Even if she got cremated, you still got to, like I said, transportation, lodging, everything for 10, 11 people. That's if Chrissy's husband's coming or not. The alleged man known as this lady's husband. Hotels, cars, food, dresses and hair. You know what I mean? Funerals, you're coming in from out of town. So ma'am's cousins, all her people out there in Alabama, baby, they're expecting you to come show up. Hey, Make Beauty, how are you, baby? Ella, you saw the live. It's a mess. Well, this is what I'm gonna say. ABC. The parents that don't want to talk about the topic need to have a burial policy and maybe even a cash, insurance policy with some cash payout for their kids. If you know you got sus kids who can't hold down a job and don't have money in the bank, baby, you're going to end up in a wooden box. Like not even wooden, excuse me, cardboard on, you know what I'm saying? You're going to end up where you end up. And all the family asking questions like, why hadn't there been a oh, we gonna do it on Zoom. Y'all, we gonna do it on Zoom on Sunday. She said, if you don't got it, shut the fuck up. Don't got it for what? Her mother's funeral? If you don't got it, I don't understand what that means. I plan to be cremated and have my ashes scattered somewhere peaceful and beautiful. It's so stressful to even bring it up when you never get a response. Oh, because some people they just don't want to talk about it. Well, look, this is the deal. This is what I would say. If you're good financially, if it doesn't matter, if you know that you're good and that you can handle the load no matter what happens as a daughter, then just know what you're going to do. And if you think that you want to plan ahead just in case and you want you and mom to be together or you and your brother or your sister and say, "Hey, look, I just went to Shady Estates and they have a beautiful spot near the little brook and under a pretty tree with lots of flowers and they have like 5 spots available. Do you and this, whomever, do you guys want to go in and we'll just start paying? It's $75 a month for the next 10 years and we pay for it and that way we have our spots secured, or we'll make payments and when we get our tax money we'll just pay it off and then we're good and then we have 5 spots and no matter what we own 5 spots and But da, 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 da. It's like, I've no clue what will happen if when they pass, because they live far away and they don't want to talk about anything related to that. You know how, like, when you were in, like, the 3rd grade and you say a note, you send a note and it's like, um, burial or cremation, funeral or memorial service. You know what I mean? You might just need to, or just you have to make the decisions yourself. It's just something you're gonna have to think about. If you're thinking about it right now, it might be your responsibility. So if they're gonna just leave it up to you, um, then you already know. If you are someone who likes to prepare, do you have to sign those papers before, like, what, to buy a your burial plot? Um It's almost like you're buying, I don't wanna say a condo, and it's not like a land purchase, but it's almost like condo style, how you have a property and you have lot number 150, 151, 152. It's like you get a deed and everything. It's like you own a piece of that property. And that's really just for burial. Then you have, you could deal with a funeral home that has you pay upfront for this type of this your services will include, a wake, um, a actual funeral location, or if you deal with their longstanding members at a church, okay? It's just, it's really not depressing because it's gonna happen. It's gonna be more depressing when the time comes and you have to deal with things that on a good day, that's just for me, because I actually have, my parents are gone. So now, being past that, um, I can say that when my mom passed, we didn't have plans. We did not, because it was kind of like, oh my, it was shocking. When my dad passed, which was like 7 months later, not seven, almost 6 months later, we were more prepared. We had a relationship with a funeral home already because they had just buried my mom, or just funeralized my mom. And we knew what to do. We had the information, and it was an easier process, and it was less stressful. It was so much less stressful because we knew what to do, and we knew what the options were, because we had already gone through the process. Yeah, she was mad at the YouTube streets. It was we had girl, it was back to back for us, 6 months, less than 6 months apart. But, again, we were very fortunate. Um, so the financial part, we were good. It was just a matter of coming to one accord about what we were going to do and how we were going to do it. But we had a church that we had a long-standing relationship. Church, I was baptized in that church when I was a baby. So we had a long-standing relationship with that church. And we had a wake, um, and we had a funeral, and then we had the repast over at the house, and it was nice. It was very nice. It's part of life. That's what I was saying the other day when this came up. This is the, it's very sad and it's something that people don't want to think about, but this is really part of life, and I felt like, I felt bad for her personally for losing her mom, because it's a shock to the system, but everybody's going to go through this. You know what I mean? Everyone's going to go through this. You'll lose people that you love, and but it's good to be prepared, because it can be very stressful. And then I can only imagine having to articulate your plans to the YouTube streets, when you come out here and cap so much. When you come out here and cap on some cappery on a regular basis, baby, I cannot imagine. And it's a mess. Yeah, it's sad. People, this is unfortunate part of life, and you plan well. And if you plan, it'll give you an opportunity to grieve. It gives you an opportunity to not argue with aunt this one or that one. It'll be an opportunity for you to not have to bicker with the Bickersons. Okay. It's going to give you, you're not going to have to argue with your brother or sister you fall out with all the time. And you're going to also be able to save face of people knowing, baby, that you got a shoestring budget. Okay. You just trying to keep it together. Because everybody doesn't need to know if you got a shoestring budget. It's not everybody's business, right? But when you start putting up GoFundMe's, go pay for me's, and people start clowning or asking or trying to figure out why, it'll save you some embarrassment. Yeah, but it's definitely less expensive, and it's an option. I don't see why people feel like it's not a good option, but it's a personal choice. It's a personal choice. So, um let's see. Yeah, and when's this gonna try to get everything? She probably should have came after. She should have just put up a GoFundMe and said, "Me and my 9 kids have to get to Alabama for my mom's funeral. Please help. The price of plane tickets is $1,527. Please help. I have to take 9 kids cross country, and my doctor husband won't pay. Some parents have dementia at this point." Yeah, that's true. And if that's the case, and you are power of attorney, or you manage their finances, then you got it. Go ahead and handle the business. Get it paid for. And I'm talking to whomever out there that resonates with. My dad had full on Alzheimer's by the time he passed away, and he was not all he wanted to do was be with my mom. That was whatever my mom wanted, my dad would just want to be in the midst. You know what I'm saying? So whatever she got, that's where he's going to be, because that was his girl. You know what I'm saying? So they had to be together. That's it. That's it. That's all. In eternity. So he wouldn't have cared. Whatever your mom wants is that's what I want. So And really and truly, my mom, she just wants to be with us kids. She just want to be with us. Anyway, my main point was Chrissy getting on here cussing everybody out yesterday, then taking the video down. This is my thing. You cannot talk about standing 10 toes down like I'm 10 toes down. I said what I motherfucking said and da 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 and take the video down. Baby, if there's one time that you get to say what you want to say, and I feel like you should stand 10 toes down, is when someone or something happens and you feel like it's on some 10 toes down. I just don't think there's anything 10 toes down about post and delete. That's okay. There is nothing 10 toes down about post and delete. Okay. Have I posted and deleted before? Yes, but not on some embarrassment. It was on some I had to put it in members, and that probably happened to me 2 or 3 times. But it's still posted. It's not stopping nobody. All you got to do is pay the money to get it. But at the end of the day, I just don't think there's anything 10 toes down about post and delete. I'm way too far away, but he had Alzheimer's at the end. Yeah, that's pretty much what he passed away from. My dad was in really good health. The thing that gave him dementia was my dad. So when my mom got sick, okay, so I don't want to tell a whole long story, but probably about 10 years before my mom passed away, she had a stroke. That was kind of what kicked some things off. And she recovered very quickly, and she ended up with she bumped her leg on something and it left a really bad bruise, and the doctors wanted to do an angioplasty on her leg. She had an angioplasty and she got infected in the rehab center with something called C-diff, which is like a super bug. She got infected with C-diff at the rehab and she almost died. My brother came to visit her one day and she was damn near on death's door. My brother literally, he didn't say a word to anybody. He scooped her out the bed, put her in his car, and rushed her down the street. Anybody in like Englewood, New Jersey, exactly. He rushed her. She was over there at this rehab center that was like right on Angle Street. And he rushed her down the street like a mile and a half, took her straight into the emergency room. And had she not gotten there, she would have died. Anyway, that whole thing was a nightmare for 10 years. Anyway, in that 10 years, let's say maybe 6 months after my mom first got sick, my dad fainted randomly, and he had just retired. This is almost, this is a long time ago now. But he had retired from his job. He worked at Lincoln Hospital in the Bronx for almost 40 years. And anyone in the Bronx, Lincoln Hospital. And he fainted. And it turned out that he had like a 90 something percent blockage in his in his carotid artery, which is a main line artery in your neck that's feeding blood up to your brain. So he had a over 90% blockage. So they found it, they fixed it, but he had been experiencing dementia, but he was really doing a good job trying to gather himself, but it did cause some brain damage because, girl, C. diff is the worst. She ended up losing half of her colon, so she ended up with an ostomy. But that didn't stop us. We still went to Vegas. She went to Paris with my sister. She was vital for a long time. But she went from 70 to 80, my dad retired. He was 70 at the time. He was maybe 72 because he died when he was 88. Yes, they can do that. But yeah, the C. diff almost took her out, but it didn't. It didn't. It almost took her out, but it didn't. Um, Long story short, she made it. It was good. Like, she was fine. You know what I mean? She made it a long way. And by the grace of God, they both died at home. You know, we had excellent people to help us because all of us live elsewhere. My youngest sister lived in Brooklyn, so she was able to come home a couple of times a week. My brother was maybe like 2 hours away by car, like an hour and a half away by car. And so, but we had to pay. We had to pay. We had 24-hour, we had three caregivers during the week. We had two people that did 12-hour shifts. They kind of we had a schedule, but they rotated shifts, and then we also had a weekend person. And then once a month I would come home. This is, well into the situation, but yeah, we had a rotating shift. My younger sister would be there, my brother would be there, I would come home. If my sister at the time, who was living in Brooklyn, they were going on vacation, somebody would come in, cover for her. It was communication is key. And when it's one kid, I can only imagine it's a lot for an only child if you have two parents who need help. Mm. It was rough. Well, her C-diff did get they got a whole so they had infectious disease. We had an ID doctor. She was cured of C. difficile. Um, they basically cut it out. Like, she had an infectious disease doctor. They got it under control. They ended up performing the surgery. They basically cut it out. But yeah, she had to live with an ostomy bag to the end. And it's highly contagious. Highly contagious. So caring for her was very scary because you could get like a flick of something, and then you could get contaminated, and it's bad. It will kill you. It will kill you slowly or quickly and painfully. She got it in well, she could have got it exiting the hospital because the hospital did report there had been a case on her floor. So it was hard to pinpoint, but by the time she was released from the hospital and she got to the rehab, she was at the rehab for maybe 24 to 48 hours. My brother went to see her one day, came back the next day, and he said she looked like she was about to die. And he's very emotional. I don't mean emotional in a bad way, but emotional in a hypersensitive, like, he's very tuned into my mom. They were very close. That was her only God only blessed me with one son. That's my mom's dialogue about her son, right? Four daughters and one son. So the one son happens to go that one day, or on that day that she needed to be seen. He said he walked in the room, he saw her, he didn't like what he saw, and he basically scooped her out of bed and put her in his car and ran her down the street to the hospital. He didn't say anything to the facility because the facility was calling my sister like, "We went to your mom's room, she's gone. We saw a man taking," like, they were concerned. They didn't know if she had just been kidnapped or what. And my sister was like, "That was my brother. He just ran her down to Englewood Hospital. He thinks that something is wrong. They're actually getting ready to admit her." But yeah, it was dramatic. It was dramatic. There was a man, they're running back videotape. She's missing from her room. He did what he had to do, though. You know what I mean? We all, like, when you deal with a parent who's had long-term illnesses, you pretty much everyone has that one story of how they saved mom's life or saved dad's life. Like I told you, the day that I had flown in and my mom's NG tube was backing up, and she coded. I'd only been there for a couple of hours, and she coded, and everyone had just left the hospital, and it was super late, and it was like it was crazy. I felt like I was having an outer body experience. Yeah. And with elderly people, it passes on really quick because they also have compromised immune systems and all of that. So, we didn't blame the hospital at all. We never sought any type of damages. We didn't try to sue or anything like that. It wasn't anything that we thought about doing. Um, when my cousins get in a pinch, I will drive a limo on the weekends. You guys have a limo company, a family limo company? That's nice. C-diff is very common in the hospitals. Yeah. It's basically like it's I don't wanna say it's like a staph resistant, or was it MRSA? It's not a MRSA, but it is definitely it's one of those infections that you're gonna have to get an infectious disease doctor to come do whatever testing, figure out exactly what you have, and they will make you a cocktail drip, and they will put you on IVs to try to kill the infection. They're going to have to make something for you. It's very like nuanced. It's not like, oh, you have C. diff and you'll get antibiotic number 3. It's They have to figure out exactly what you have, and they have to get it right away because when you wait, it'll morph, it'll become something else. It'll become stronger, bigger, morph. It's crazy. It's disgusting. It's absolutely horrible. It's not common in the sense that like everybody in a hospital is going to get it, but if you are um you have a lot in rehabs, and I'm not just talking about like a orthopedic rehab. I'm talking about people who are of a particular age group who are all convalescing. And a lot of times in nursing homes, you have um uh look, no offense to anybody, you're not getting sometimes you don't have hospital trained nurses aides, care partners, CNAs, everything. The staff is just a little bit not as well trained as the your hospital staff. Some people come over from hospitals. You have some rehab centers that are excellent and amazing, and you have some that just are not. You so you know what I mean? And you have people who are very sick. You have people who are not necessarily being contained how they should be contained. You have people who are not always exercising the best um, precautions from room to room. Also, you have um, body fluids and things that are in the air. Um, Things happen. You know what I mean? There's just no way to just contain anything and everything. So you could have a speck of something on you and it gets on something, and you've got just like how with Auntie Rona. You know what I mean? It just nursing homes are, you know, you can have excellent staff and somebody makes a mistake or something happens and they just don't see it and they don't know. You know what I mean? You could have horrible staff and never get super bugs in your facility. You just never know. Yeah, it's very contagious. They're not all bad. We had the rehab my mom the rehab that my mom ended up in, she ended up there. She was probably there for almost like 9 months. And it was really good. It was very good. Not the one that where she almost died, but she was sent to another one, and they were able to get her back on her feet and, from convalescing from a very long hospital stay to back on her feet, back in good health. And 9 months later, we had gone to Vegas. So, you know what I mean? And that was after a stroke, a failed angioplasty, and, an ostomy procedure, losing part of her colon. I mean, she was good. So it's not I'm going to just say it like this, and I'm going to be real honest with you. You get what you pay for. You get what you pay for. And if you have the money or you have the insurance, you will be fine. If you don't have money and you don't have good insurance, or you're relying on bad insurance or not great coverage, it's not going to be well. I'll just say it like that. I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, when she was still in ICU, we had to wash um wash your hands, put your antibacterial on, then put on your gloves, put on your yellow smock, put on your shoe covers. I mean, they had us in like damn near spacesuits coming to visit. You had to put on your yellow smock, cover your shoes. Was it pants? I don't know if it was like a pantsuit, girl. It was a whole yellow situation. Cover your head. You had to cover. And when you came out from the room, so there was like you walk in into the ICU and you're already washing up, gloving up, covering up, going into the ICU. And I mean, some of the nurses use double gloves. Like it was, girl, it's real. It's real. C-diff will scare the shit out of you. You see what it's doing to your loved one, and then you go in to go visit, you are going to be covered down, okay? Because what's it going to do you to go in there and get it? It's very contagious. I thought about it. I was on track to become a nurse once upon a time. I really wanted to be a nurse. I never really thought about being a doctor. The only medical aspect I considered was psychology or psychiatry. I thought about psychiatry. I have an aunt who is internal medicine in a psychiatric hospital, and she says that is a trip because she does internal medicine in the psychiatric hospital, and so she's now since retired. She had gone part-time, but now she's completely retired, and I really admired her career a lot, and just really smart and all of that. But yeah, I love medicine, I really do. But yeah, I was playing around too much in college and then just needed to fast track my behind up and handle that business. I was too busy with the wrong things. So that's why when I say to the girlies, focus on your studies, focus on your bag, I'm saying that for experience, because sis was in the wind in her younger years, and I have no regrets, but sis was in the wind, okay? But things happened the way they were supposed to. It's okay. You don't go to hospitals for social calls. You can call people and FaceTime now. I think people you love, they want to see you, and you want to see them, so you have to be very particular, but hospitals have a lot of shit going on. Everybody's not going to the hospital to have a baby. That's the least of their worries. That's why Maternity units are off to themselves because those are healthy people coming in to perform a bodily function. Under most circumstances, it's very rudimentary. You do have some serious cases sometimes, but like here in Charlotte, at one of the hospitals, the maternity unit is almost in unto itself. They have their own elevator. You go up there, it's its own place. And, other than going to the cafeteria and stuff like that, it is completely isolated from the other part of the hospital because these people are not sick. They're coming in to have a baby and that's it, and go home and not be exposed to Rona, Diff, MRSA, all that bullshit that's going on, TB, all of just everything that's going on in your community is going on in that hospital. Rest assured. You don't, me personally, when I go into a hospital, when I'm pressing the buttons in the elevator, I'm using a key or something covered. I'm not touching anything. I don't want to touch anything. I'm trying to not use my hands at all. Hospitals look very clean and they are, but they're also not. You know what I mean? No. Respiratory therapy, they have to intubate people and that's a lot. And they see a lot of death. They see, they're coming in sometimes, they're coming in at different times, but they are also coming in, during coding. And I wouldn't have wanted to do that. Um, yeah, just wash your hands, wear your mask, don't touch anything. I can imagine. Yeah, MRSA is not cute because just when they think they got it, you have to get a different antibiotic. But yeah, guys, I look, what happened to Strong Mommy Chrissy, for some reason I already knew when we talked about this the other day, we already knew she was going to come with the GoFundMe, and good luck with her and her damn GoFundMe. She needs to get these plane tickets. It's just not giving. Um it's not giving that sis has got a physician for a husband. It's not giving that you have a husband. It's not giving that you have any help. Let's just say it like that. It's really not giving that you have help. And to be a woman with 9 children, where are the fathers? Did we even talk about that yet? Where's the fathers? Where is, hey, sir, I gotta take Boo Boo, Bebe, this one, that one, Smiles, Shorty, dude, all the things. I take all these kids. Hello, father of so and so, child number 1, child number 2. We're going here or there. Why did we not even, we didn't talk about that. So on top of the husband that seems to be offering no help at all because it's not his family, what about the people whose family it is? So you got 9 kids with a host of fathers. Why can't the fathers give you $300 to $500 a piece? $1,000. Didn't everybody just get their tax money? Don't these men work? You can't get a $500. You can't get a plane ticket. Well, one, you got the twins have a father. Them 3 older kids have fathers. Okay. Then you got Cash has a father, the one he lives with. Then you got Junebug, Blaze, and Onyx. We don't know what the situation is. I don't know if Strangler Bay. I feel like Strangler Bay is the father to one of them. We got Chrissy's cousin's husband who may, that's word on the street. And then the bum, okay? Her mouth is too smart. Ah! All these men, nobody has sent you a Cash App? Okay. Anyway, I'm not going to drag this out. Let me tell you guys something else too. Why did I have a Airbnb hold on my American Express debit card this morning? Girl, I put both my cards on freeze. I don't know what happened. I haven't gotten my new card yet. I checked, the address is correct. But I gotta spend some time as I could get off this computer right now. I need to call Amex and find out what the hell's going on. But they did a, I don't know if it was like $1. It was either $1 or could have been 10-cent hold. I'm sure nobody bought something for $1 or 10 cents, but it looked like maybe they wanted to go through, or I don't know what they're trying to do, but I noticed it this morning. I went to log in because I'm like, they haven't sent me my new card yet. And it's been almost 2 weeks since they called me that day and told me what was going on, right? So I logged into my account and I saw a transaction. I know. I got scammed on one of those Easy Pass scams. I put my information in. Um, I probably need to change my Cash App card too, because I put my Cash App card in first and I haven't seen anything weird on my Cash App, but I don't keep a lot of money in there. If I end up getting Cash Apps, I'll usually transfer them over. Um, to something else. I won't leave but usually like 50 or $100 in there. So if I get some money, I'll, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm gonna change I don't have time to change but the two that I did put in, I'm definitely, and I'm just so mad I did that. I'm so mad. But yeah, I froze both of them and I normally have like a automatic thing come out. Like I normally pull money from one account to put it into that Amex checking. Um, and I canceled that. I canceled it and I put both cards on hold. But this has been a nightmare, girl. It's like I feel like my name is now all over the dark web. Not to that bank, girl. I got to. No, it's not attached to that bank. I have an American Express credit card that got affected, and I have American Express checking account, and both of them have been. I need, yeah. They're still trying. They're still trying. Yes, absolutely. They're still trying. So I froze. I hit the button to freeze everything. That freezes it for 7 days. So that gives me time. I ordered new cards, so they're probably going to be calling me anyway. But I did it in my app so they know it's me, and then my IP addresses and stuff. So yeah, it's a mess. I'm still living through this drama. Can you believe it? I did that one other time when it was Netflix and I got caught up because any of you guys who pay for like Netflix and Hulu through your Apple account. So basically what happened, I got one of those notices that my Netflix or something hadn't been paid. And I was like, just didn't think about it. I'm telling you, that's my hook. If somebody sends me something and they're like, it hadn't been paid, I'm like, what? Girl, I immediately clicked the link and tried to log in. Well, that gives them your Netflix credentials. I can tell y'all some stuff about being scammed, but I've not been scammed that bad. But I did click on the Netflix. It was a scam phishing. I clicked on the thing. I put in my Netflix credentials. Thank God I immediately was like, I I pay for that through the Apple Store. That's not right. How could I be behind when it comes out through my Apple iTunes all the time? Baby, I went to Netflix so quick and changed my ID. I changed my everything and I was okay. But yeah, I fall now. It's like I log into everything once a month. You know what I mean, to pay my bills. Even stuff that I have on auto draft, I just go to check and sometimes I make an extra payment. So if you have your auto draft set to like do the minimum payment or just to do like $100 or something, however you pay your stuff, I usually log in anyway onto everything that I owe money to and just check in to see, make sure that the last payment came out and what I purchased is there and just to see what's what, right? Just to look around and and I do check my credit report cuz girl, I like to see that number go up and I like to know what my credit standing is, right? Um I encourage you, if your credit score is not where you want it to be, I'm going to tell you something that will make your credit score start to go up immediately. Take a look at your credit report. And if you owe somebody some money, try to work it out where you can pay some of it off or make a settlement to pay it off. If you owe somebody $1,000, I promise you they'll take 400. Like it's just, you know what I'm saying? Don't, your credit is so valuable and it really dictates how you're going to be able to operate and manage the money, that your cash flow, having good credit, because the way people deal with you is based on that number. And if that number is not saying that you have credit worthiness, whether you want to be extended credit or not, or just privilege, it makes a difference. Where do you check it? If you have a major credit card, most of your credit card companies will just you scroll down and they'll let you see your credit score and you can pull up your credit report right there. But you can, I think it's like freecreditreport.com. I also recommend, if you want to apply for something. And if your credit is challenged and you're not getting approved for anything, get declined for something, and they're going to offer you a free credit report. And you can get a credit report either emailed or I don't think they mail them to you anymore. But you can get a free credit report through freecreditreport.com. You can also go to one of the providers like Equifax, TransUnion. I think, who do I belong to? Is it TransUnion? I think I have both of them on my phone and they have free memberships, or it's like $1. I have Experian on here. Experian, I don't know how much I pay, I'm gonna be honest, but it was barely nothing. It's maybe just a couple of dollars and I have access to my credit report. You can also, if you had things to dispute, you can actually dispute through the app. Yeah, your bank account gives you access. And if you have like some of that stuff that Keisha Kaylee talks about, credit repair, a lot of those things you can do yourself. It just takes you the time. But it's nothing like back in the day where you actually had to write people letters. Now they have apps. You could be in the TransUnion Experian app. And if you see something or just something that's old and you want to dispute it, you can, and you want to get verification or you want to get the original invoice and they're not able to um, uh, offer that to you, you can dispute the debt. Now, technically, legally, you are not, it's illegal to dispute debt that you know to be valid. So I'm certainly not telling you to dispute anything that is accurate. But if you have if you're questioning the debt, questioning the total, you can dispute someone. Yeah, all you have to do is click dispute. You can do it yourself. But I now in my 20s and 30s, it's a very different picture for me than now, you know what I mean? But, I think that when I became more, conscious about my credit and also being in a relationship, with my husband, and also just not even just because of a relationship with my husband, but just also knowing that like my credit's his credit and his credit's my credit, and we have to have each other's back financially, and part of, being like responsible also for our child, our household, and all of those things. It's just you should keep up with your credit. You should want your credit to be as best as it possibly can and be a good fiduciary of, your finances, or a good steward of your finances rather. Yeah. I mean, you could want to, there's different reasons. I forgot I think maybe a couple of years ago, I know I may have had like a medical bill or something that I disputed, but also just, also to find out that you have like a LabCorp bill for $75. You know what I mean? Like those things, and then to be able to have the phone number and say, "Hey, this is blank blank blank, and I'd like to pay that off." That was more of what I needed, because at the end of the day, when you find out you have a random LabCorp bill, or you have $40 that didn't get paid for by your insurance, and maybe you just overlooked it, and you've got a random charge, which can definitely be hospital bills, laboratory bills, things of that nature that are not your standard bills that come to your house and may or may not get overlooked. Those are things that can adversely affect your credit, and those things need to be paid immediately. And sometimes it's just not as bad as you think. You know what I mean? And also, if your financial situation has changed, there are things that maybe once upon a time were a burden to pay that now are just like, let me just pay that. And you pay attention to your credit, and your credit is going to go up, 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 up. And it's going to be like, wow, it wasn't even fixing. It was just paying. It was acknowledging and paying. And look at God. Look look at my beautiful credit report now, you know? Anyway, guys, I'm going to let you guys go. I'm glad we had a chance to just talk a little bit today, cuz that's always fun. I do want to address some of those comments with you, cuz you guys were showing out. It was so funny in the comments. Some of the things that y'all had to say regarding yesterday's video, and y'all not giving no slack out here. That's all I have to say. YouTube, and no slack. Who, Chrissy? She got a lot of kids. She has a lot of kids, and she has to get them across country, baby. I would tell my husband, which I you shouldn't even have to tell your husband. He should be taking off from work, renting a Sprinter, and go ahead, get them kids packed up. Everybody take 3 outfits. The littles take 5 underwear, and let's hit the road, and take 2 days and get y'all behinds to Alabama, cuz that's going to be, I would imagine $4,000 could be plane tickets, but you still going to need hotels, transportation, all of that. So, anyway, not my problem. Yeah. Good for her, and safe travels and all that, because the babies are innocent. Y'all, Bible lady, I do have an update for you, girl. By the time I finished cooking dinner yesterday, sis was tad. I was gonna send you an update in Instagram. Stephen Starnes, I was just gonna email it to you like, hey girl, hey. He tried to get a continuance, basically a delay on the motion to suppress some evidence that was pulled from his Google account, and the judge said no. I do have the hearing, so we'll go as soon as I get off here. We're gonna go play it, but he actually has court today at 2:00, so we're gonna see how that goes. So I'm gonna go over there now. Um, and we'll talk about that real quick, and then I'm gonna come back live at 2 for his hearing, because I think they're gonna go through some evidence, and I think they also have some witnesses, and it might be actually a pretty good hearing. Any of you guys interested in that? Stefan Starnes is going to be in court today. He was in court yesterday. If you are familiar with the death of little Madeline Soto, who died the day after she turned 13, mom's boyfriend was a pervert. Mom turned a blind eye, like some of these creepy asleep on the job females do, and put their boyfriend over their child. And unfortunately, the young lady lost her life. So sir is being held to account in the 9th District of Florida, Osceola County, and he has a host of CSAM charges, and he's supposed to stand on trial for murder in September. So it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad, and he stands for it might I think the murder case is a death penalty, and he's up for a life sentence on this particular case, which is all of the CSAM, all of the sex abuse material that was in his phone. He's trying to suppress that evidence, which is not going to work. So it was all legally obtained. He handed them his phone. So I don't think that I don't know if there's any problems or not. So anyway, we're going to talk about that today. Anywho, I love you guys. You guys are awesome. I love talking to you guys. I'm glad we had a chance to get into it today. And I'm here. And we'll talk about some more stuff tomorrow. Okay. You guys take care. Have a good afternoon. Hold on. Why even a trial? Because he's pleaded not guilty. Girl, he pleaded not guilty. A mess, right? Octavia, I'm going to go live in a minute over there to do like legit a quick update. I plan to not be live longer than 30 minutes in a minute, and then I'll be back at 2. So he's a mess. He pled not guilty, knowing good and damn well. So to your point, because he pled innocent, he pled not guilty. So a mess. All right, I'll see you guys. Let me find something shorter. Okay.
By the way, friend, I respect you as a reactor. By the way, friend, I respect you as a reactor. By the way, friend, I respect you as a reactor. This is all about clout. I respect you